Alright boys, welcome back to another El Camino Kyle video. We're over here at the Pratt residence. Got Dalton, the guy with the 68 Firebird that I just did a 69 Firebird that I just did a video on. Got his trunk and trailer, got his Jeep. This is going to be our tow rig today, and we are starting a new project. You guys saw actually the most viewed video on my YouTube channel, the green 73 Jeep J4000 that I power washed. We are pulling its brother out of the field. I just cut it out of the blackberry bushes last week, and we're getting ready to tow it out because we're doing the Gambler 500. So we're gonna drive down through the yard by the barn, and we'll record us pulling that thing out, bringing it down to Corvallis, and we're gonna try and get it running in the next 2 months so we can drive it 500 miles through the Oregon wilderness. All right, here she is. All right, well, Dalt figures out the winch situation. I'll give you guys a little rundown on this. So Keith, the gentleman who owns the boat, the Rebel, the Subaru, the Datsun that we sold, both J4000s, a Honda 3-wheeler, an ATV, all this cool stuff. I just talked to him last week, met the guy in person, super nice guy. We've got a lot in common. Car nuts. He has owed Noah's family Sprint money, and in exchange for what he owes, signed some titles over. Now we've got ownership of this thing, so we're gonna pull this thing out. The registration says 02. He got the renting space or the field in 2006, so it's been sitting for 14, 16, 18 years, however long. Ran when parked. He said it needs a water pump. Well, the hood doesn't open, so we are towing this thing out of this yard, hoping that it'll work. I already freed up the front drums. There are no brake pads left, so I ordered all new brake hardware, hoping that if this thing gets running, we can get some brakes on it and then drive it. We don't know how rusty it is. We looked at it for 10 minutes. I cut it out of the blackberries, and we're already getting to it, pulling this thing out. So we'll hook up here. I'm gonna steer, he's gonna winch me in, we'll get it around the boat, around the barn, all the way up to the house, load it onto this trailer, get her down to Corvallis, and then start working on her over the next 2 months. Cross your fingers for us. We're hoping this thing will last that 500 miles. Not to mention the 2.5 drive to the event and the 2.5 drive out of it. Yeah, so wish us luck, guys. Go! You want to come in? That's where she was. God damn, that back end looks good.
Foot to the floor on the brakes and just was like, well, it's either going to break the cable or it's going to come out.
Look how deep those back tires run there. Jeez. Yeah, you snapped some blackberry stalks when you yanked on it. There were some growing in between the bed and the cab.
Oh.
That's why it was. Yeah, look, you're dragging them.
Some, goddamn.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh my god.
No way. It has a little AMC door handle, like the Gremlin.
Is that gonna open?
Probably not. Oh, this thing can for sure go 1,000 miles in 2 months. We got this in the bag. I love my life. Here we go, look at this. Depressed. Comes back. We got brakes. We got shag carpet. We got a sound system. Cigar butts. Lighter. Oh my gosh. 2,800 original miles. 3,000 original miles. This thing we could sell this to Barrett Jackson. We're going to the Gambler, baby. Ugh. Ugh. All right, boys. We got her loaded up. Ran into some troubles with the winch. Had to jump the battery on that. Wasn't too strong, pulling it all the way up the driveway and then up the tilt bed. But got it up here successfully. Back 2 tires are running a little bit low. We'll air those up. We got 4 spare 35s in the bed. Got to clean out the rest of the bed. Just rip the interior apart. And then we just made a quick trip up to Baxter's Auto Parts. Saw my buddies. Got all the parts that we're going to need to get this thing running after we cut a hole in the hood to get it open to hopefully get it running. So I'm going to hop in the Jeep. Dalt's going to drive this bad boy down to Corvallis, and then we're going to put it behind Buddy's shop, and within the next few weeks hopefully get a nice start on this thing. So we'll see you on the road. A new day, and it looks a little different. We pulled it into my buddy's shop, rolled it off the trailer into this parking spot, and then I decided that I was going to power wash it before I started working on it. But don't worry, as I mentioned before, the most viewed video on my channel is power washing the green one. So of course I had to film a video of me power washing this one. That will be going up after I upload this video. But what we're going to start with today is getting this hood open. And I know some of you guys are going to kill me for this, but I'll explain why I'm doing it. So once I actually get the hood open, I'll show you more in depth of what this hood mechanism works like. But as for now, I was going to hole saw through the hood and then sawzall around that to hopefully get the hood open. I've decided now that I'm probably going to sawzall just because of all the structure in the hood, but I'll show you kind of what we're working with. So how this works, you probably won't be able to see in here, but there's a small lever right here, and this lever is on like a torque rod. It goes from the left side to the right side, lever in the middle. When you push up on this lever, that rod is supposed to rotate, and then it relieves the 2 little C-clips on each sprung hood lock on each side. But when you hit this, it's not rotating at all, so I can't get the hood open. So what I'm going to have to do is there's all this structure in here. So rather than hole sawing through 2 pieces of structurally sound metal, I'm just going to sawzall straight through this, make a little section of rectangle. May or may not tack weld this back in place, but at this point, this car is pretty much going to the junkyard if it doesn't run. I know, I hate to say that. I like saving cars personally, but with this thing, you know, it's on its last life, so I'm really trying here. This is the only option because I've got less than 2 months now to get this thing running and driving enough to go like 800 miles off the road. So if this doesn't get running as fast as possible, I gotta go to that Subaru, which doesn't even run, and then, you know, it goes on and on. I'm going to Gambler regardless. It's what I have to go through to get there. So I'm gonna mount you guys up on this trash can and just start full solid to that hood. And it is as easy as that. So here is that lever, and let me take my sawzall off real quick. Just like this. It wasn't rotating before because it was contacting. You can see the contact points right there. It was hitting right there, so it would hit the top of the hood before it can rotate fully. And now let me mess with it. We can see what this hood looks like. It's a little worse than I was expecting. There is signs of rodents everywhere. You can see on top of the engine and the core support there's all sorts of nuts or shit. I don't know what it is. And then if I can even get that up, I'll have to unloosen that. That thing's literally filled, so the carb is definitely seized. I'll have to vacuum that out and then rebuild it. Coil is crumbled. Spark plug wires are needed. Batteries needed. I don't know. Is this a horn? That might be a horn. And then it's got the glass. Looks like fuel line. That's terrible. Those things rattle apart. And then gas dumps on the exhaust. And then it catches on fire. So we'll have to change that. There's obviously those blackberry lines growing through here. So we've got some cleaning up to do. I'm gonna turn the camera off, take a moment to assess this, hopefully find some gloves, and just start vacuuming the shit out of this. Alright, I got most of the stuff vacuumed out. Now I'm kind of seeing, really, where do I want to start first? So it's either I pull spark plugs and see if they're fouled out. I'll probably need to replace them anyway just to get it started. And then obviously I'm gonna need a coil, because look at that thing, but I'll test the voltage across that. Obviously gonna need spark plug wires, which I don't have. I basically have everything to get this thing going except for coil, spark plug wires, and a carb rebuild kit. And of course, like, those are the three things I'm gonna need most. But I couldn't get the carb rebuild kit because I didn't know what was gonna be on it. But of course, it's exactly what I thought. A 1406, just the most generic Edelbrock. Should have snagged one of those up, but literally the parts store is on the other side of this wall, so I'll see if they've got one. Luckily, it's got an electric choke, so that's gonna be good for us. Yeah, they'll probably have a set of spark plug wires that I don't want to pay $40 for. And then I was gonna go check the oil and show you guys, but just like Keith had mentioned, the dipstick does not come out of the dipstick tube. The dipstick tube actually came detached from the block, so there's really no way to check the oil. Trans fluid, honestly, it doesn't even really matter at this point. I assume it's a low, because he said one of the main problems is a front main seal in the trans leak, so that's going to be low. And then also the water pump. So I've got a water pump for it, and looks like that one's going to be a pain in the ass to fix. It's got a fan clutch on it and all that good stuff. Also might have a leaky radiator, which is a good sign. So I'm just going to start tearing this thing apart, pull out a few spark plugs, see where we're standing, and hopefully get a sense for what the oil's looking like. I won't change the oil until it gets fired. So I'm going to set the camera down again and start digging into this thing. Alright, got the first spark plug pulled, and judging that it's just beyond fouled, I'm just gonna go ahead and put all 8 new spark plugs in it. I've got 2 sets, so even if it fouls the fresh set, I've still got a backup set after we rebuild the carb. So just wanted to update you guys. Super fouled out. I'm sure all 8 are gonna be just as disgusting, so I'll just go ahead and put a whole new set in there. Alright guys, we are back here the day after. Working on this truck is just hit or miss with my school and work schedule, and then by the time I'm off school or work, it's usually dark. So I could only tackle so much yesterday. Well, actually a lot. I just had to do it a few different times. So I promise I haven't done anything interesting since I last let off yesterday, but I will catch you up. So as you know, daily driver is the El Camino. It's the only car I have down here in College Town right now. So with GMs, you got a side post battery. This is a Jeep, doesn't take a side post, so what I had to do was get, these are for charging. You screw them into the side and it adapts them to a terminal. They're for charging purposes only, but they're also for starting a vehicle. The terminals, connectors are all rusted out, so I have a screwdriver shoved into the positive just to keep it from clicking and not clicking again every time you go to start it. Put a new starter solenoid in. This is from the Ford Highboy that I had. That's now sold. Still had this one and a crappy spare one in the back of the El Camino, so I threw that on there instead of the one that was on it. Seems to work. And then so I put that on there. You'll see I got new spark plug wires. I had to pay like 30 bucks, order them in. Luckily I got them yesterday afternoon. Spark plugs, of course. See a coil, put a coil on there. Did not rebuild the carb, and I put the cap and rotor. The old cap and rotor were in pretty nice shape, but I left that there. The points and condenser didn't seem too corroded or too rusty, so I just left them in there. And then what I did for gas, I was gonna test the old fuel pump, but nah, I didn't see a need. So what I did was I got the tank off of my Honda, and then just put this bad boy, I siphoned it past the filter into the input of the carb, and so it would have fresh gas and could pull it with vacuum and such to start feeding it like that. But of course get it fired for the first time off the carb clean. And then I went to pull in the trash, and then I realized that I don't know what the deal is, if there's no filter in here or what, but literally this secondary flap was closed, and when I came back I noticed this little dripping sound, and I was like, what the hell is that? Secondary flaps were closed. It was just taking all the gas from my tank and filling up all the way to the rim right here. So the carb is definitely flooded now. There's a pool of gas on the intake on both sides. Fire hazard. I don't have a fire extinguisher. There's a shit ton of oil and acorns, so this is going to be good. I'm here alone, so I can't really start it and watch for fire and watch for fuel leaks, etc., and check for sparks. So I called a buddy. Hopefully he'll be here in the next 20 or 30 minutes so we can check for spark. So literally the only thing keeping this thing from running is the wires that might shoot through, or the points and condenser, or a flooded carb. But hopefully we'll get something. Just for the hell of it, I will try and turn the key and see if it just cranks to begin with after hooking up that battery. And yeah, it looks like it cranks. So we're off to a good start. Yeah, like I said, just gotta wait for my buddy to come over here and help me. I'm gonna mess through the wiring and turn the ignition on, see if I can test voltage drop and everything at the coil, and maybe at the distributor if I can. I know it's a fresh battery. Hopefully we don't wear this down, because if we do, there's no way I'm getting back home. So I will catch up with you guys in a few minutes here. Alright boys, welcome back to the back half of this video. I gotta apologize because it's been, I don't even know, probably about a month since I filmed that last clip. In all honesty, I don't even remember where I left off on the car, but I gotta finish this video for you guys. I just feel so bad. A lot has happened to that Jeep since the last piece of this video has been recorded, and a lot has happened just really in general since then. I am in my new daily driver as of this morning, and we are heading over to the shop, and I'm just going to give you guys a little walk around with the car. I don't want to say anything specifically that has happened since that last clip until I get there, but you guys are about to see the Jeep in all its glory in the ending of this video. And then as far as the Gambler goes, so today is Monday afternoon, it's getting later in the day, and we got to leave for the Gambler early Friday morning, so there's less than 4 days to get ready for it. We don't know what we're taking yet, but that's something that I'm going to talk about here in a second. So when I'm over at the shop in just a few minutes here, we will catch up and I will go through this whole car with you guys. Thank you for being so patient and waiting for this video, and it's been spacious and hard to film because I was rushing to get this car going and driving, but trust me, it's well worth the wait. I'll see you guys in a second. There she is. So the story on this thing goes, as most of you guys already know, it was in Noah's field for the past 20 years. We yanked it out with Dalton's Jeep. Now, the previous owner, Keith, told me amongst many other things, the front seal and the trans was out, so it was leaking. And after I topped off the fluid in it and started cranking the engine and leaving it in the parking spot, you could tell the front seal was out. It leaked fluid everywhere, and it still is. So that was obviously bad, and I didn't film any of this because I was being ambitious and didn't have much time, but I threw a new water pump on it. That took a few hours, way longer than it should. And then you guys already know this, we went through the whole ignition system. We had a defective coil, put the old one back on, still running great, did the points, the ignition, the wires, the plugs, the whole 9 yards. New fuel line. We threw a tank out of Dalton's Toyota rock crawler in the bed, and we drilled a hole out in the side and mounted it, and it's all sturdy in here. Good tank. We got new tires for it, super hard tires to find. They're 35s on a 15-inch rim diameter. I believe they are, 35 by 12.5 by R15. Really hard to find. We ripped it out of the It's so much to it, and we got it driving, and we got it idling on its own, and then I drove it 2 blocks down the road, did a few laps, and transmission blew up. It had 5 neutrals and it rolled in park, and it was a shit show. It pissed me off. I pulled the brake booster in the master. I put a new master on it. The brake booster came off the green Jeep, which is the most popular video on my channel of power washing it. Pulled the booster off that, put it in this truck, got brakes now. When we went to test the brakes, the transmission blew up. It's like, do I really want to pull the transmission out of the green Jeep, pull the transmission out of this, and then put the green ones in this? Is it worth it, this truck, that, even after a transmission, will we have brakes because we weren't able to test them? And will this thing just in general make it 2 hours to Crescent, Oregon, and then 500 miles on and off road, and then 2 hours back? So what I ended up doing was I took the transmission off the car. And, it was a pain in the ass. You can see that the casing is cracked. It actually ended up falling on my head when I was taking it out. But we took the trans out, or me and my buddy Jackson, who you guys have seen in some of the videos, we took it out, and then me and another one of my buddies, Reed, dropped the transmission out of the green truck in Noah's barn, and then I installed this transmission out of the green Jeep into this Jeep on my own 2 nights ago. And when I put it in and squared everything up, it still wasn't working. And then I put the transfer case in gear and it started rolling. So even though that old transmission, the case could have been in neutral, I still think the trans is blown. But to sum it up, I put miles on this thing yesterday. I was driving it around town. I tuned the carb. I tuned the vacuum solenoid on the back of the trans to get it shifting right. It still needs to be dialed, but in conclusion, it runs and it drives and it's loud as shit. So basically, what you guys deserve is to hear it run and to hear it drive. So that's what we're going to do today. And like I said earlier, there's 4 days till the Gambler. Dalton and I discussed it, and we don't think this thing is going to make it. So what we're going to do is the Jeep that pulled this thing out of Noah's field, his CJ7, he's driving that. And of course, I'm going to drive this because I don't give a crap. If this thing breaks down, we've got a tow strap, and we're just going to go with it. We might auction it off. We don't know, but this thing is going on the Gambler. I got a trip permit for it and everything, so I don't care. It's going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up for you guys, if I can find the keys even, and then I'll let it warm up. And then I'm going to close up this new rig. Check this bad boy out. 112,000 original miles on it. It's going to be the new daily. But we'll let this warm up. I'll close the windows up on that. And then we'll take this thing around the block. I'll try and set up a GoPro. We'll see. It's rough on a cold start. Doesn't really matter. It stays running around corners and at hard braking and stoplights. That's good enough for me to try and get it going on the Gambler. But like I said, I'm gonna let this thing warm up a little bit, and then we'll take it around the block and down the street. I drove it all around town yesterday, and it was doing fine with the new water pump. I don't think it was overheating. It's topped off on trans fluid, topped off on oil, burn all the spilled fluids off of it, so she's good to go. I'm so confident in this truck that I am leaving my bag of tools in the wagon, and we're just gonna go with it. It's literally sitting here smoking and idling on itself, and I might be destroying the audio with my voice, but I think it's the only way that you'll hear me. The passenger door is stuck shut with a ratchet strap because it flies open if it's not. I've got my fire extinguisher. No seat belts. This door doesn't shut, but I can keep it closed with my elbow. Can't really see out of the windshield. Everybody looks at you. There's no brake lights or turn signals, but it does have headlights. And so the stall speed on the torque converter, I don't know if it's that or the vacuum solenoid that I still need to adjust, or if it's just the transmission, but you gotta let off the throttle and kind of persuade it into second gear. So there we go. And everybody's looking. But I can tell you guys right now, I'm gonna end up killing it. Because you really gotta drive it with 2 hands and 2 feet. So I'm gonna do my best filming. We'll just see how it goes. But she's a beast, dude. You guys know me. You know the story with the Lemon and how that was sitting for 27 years before we raced it for 24 hours in the Lemons, and that thing survived the whole thing. I feel like as a driver, I can work this car to make it survive, but it's also off-road, so I have no idea. It's going to be an event, so let's just drive this thing around and then I guess finish off the video. And then the next video in this series is I've got a power washing video of the truck that's coming out after this. And then on Friday I'm gonna start filming for the Gambler. So we'll see. But this thing is literally insane. It's a tractor. It's got manifolds to straight pipes to 3-foot-long cherry bombs, and then it's all rusted, and there's so many exhaust leaks that it just backfires and shoots flames. This thing is an animal. I love this truck for how many hours I put into just the transmission alone. I'd say all in all, excluding labor, with just the parts that Dalton and I have bought to put into this thing, we've got like $400 into it, so it's a beast. And fuck, it just died. But it's as easy as that. Turns back on and goes into gear. So I'll pull over somewhere here and we'll just do a little walk around. My co-worker's girlfriend is actually chasing me behind. Just passed her on the road. So. Oh boy, we're going onto the highway. Alright, I'm gonna set the camera down and I'll reconvene with you here in a second. So that's that, boys. I really don't know what more to say. The truck is the truck, and it's been in a field for 20 years, and it's a fucking lemon. I don't think, in all honesty, not to be cocky, but more so humble, I don't think anybody else would have the balls to drive this truck 800 miles, or rather 2 hours to Crescent, Oregon, 500 miles on and off road, and then 2 hours back. But I've got the faith. I don't have the know-how, but, you know, I think I can figure it out between Dalton and I. So right now it's running the 31s. I have a set of dry rotted 10-year-old 35 BF Goodriches that I gotta find some tire shop that will mount those for me. Nobody will because it's technically illegal, but I would prefer to run the 35s instead of the 31s. But you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Whatever's gonna make it easiest for us. But I promise that I will try and get enough footage of this Gambler race as I can, because it's going to be fun. I highly encourage all of you guys to do it next year or in the coming years if you have the opportunity. And this just goes to show that you can pull a Jeep out of a field that is rotted to shit after 20 years, get it running and driving, and have the weekend of your life partying with a whole bunch of rednecks in the middle of the Oregon wilderness. And they do this all across the nation, and if you don't want to do off-roading or you don't have a Gambler race near you, do the 24 Hours of Lemons, or do some autocross or something. Just get out there and experience this type of crap, because I tell you what, I could go out there and I could buy a $20,000 Resto Mod classic car, or I could get this for free, put $300 into it, and just laugh my ass off for a whole weekend until I lose my voice. I appreciate you guys being patient with me and sticking through this whole video. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know how put together it's going to be. But thank you guys. I really appreciate every one of you. I know I haven't been posting much. I'm working hard as shit with a full-time job and a mechanical engineering degree. It's hard. But I'm going to try and get back on the grind. So we got this video coming out, then we got a power washing video, we got the Gambler video, and then I just bought that wagon. If you guys want to walk around to that 82 Granada wagon, let me know. It's a clean car with a whole bunch of documentation, drives great, there's a great story behind it. Let me know what you guys want to see. I'm thinking about buying a semi truck for my 21st birthday next year. I want to buy a limo road trip it to Canada and go to Waffle House. I feel like that'd be fun as shit. Let me know what you guys want to see, because I am open to absolutely anything. Have a good one and enjoy, guys. Peace out.